I always thought the moon was just a rock in the sky. I loved it, though, the quiet glow over our little house out in the fields, the way it made the wheat look silver at night. Growing up, my dad used to say that the moon watched over us. He'd point up at it on nights when the wind was sharp and the barn creaked in its old bones. He said the moon kept things out, the things that crawled through the grass when we were too small to understand. It's funny what sticks with you. I'm 32 now, living alone in the same house. The fields are mostly empty these days. The co-op bought out the neighbors, but they never did anything with the land. So it's just me, the rusting barn, the fence that needs fixing, and the moon that still shines so bright it almost hurts. 2 weeks ago, I noticed something was off. Not just with the crops, or the way the wind sounded different, but with the moon itself. It started on a Monday. I came home from a late shift at the gas station, dead tired, wanting nothing more than to collapse into bed. But when I stepped out of the truck, I looked up, and the moon wasn't where it should have been. It was hanging low, way too low, over the old Miller property, almost like it had drifted down to hover just above the trees. It looked bigger, too. And I remember this so clearly because it felt like it was looking right at me. The same way my dad used to stare when he wanted me to admit to something. I shook it off, told myself it was an optical illusion. I went inside, made myself a sandwich, didn't sleep much. The next night, it was worse. I woke up at 2:13 a.m., that time sticks in my head, burned into the clock on my nightstand. The room was so bright I thought a truck had pulled up to my window. But it was the moon again, even closer this time. I swear I could see the craters in perfect detail. I sat there, on the edge of the bed, pulling the blanket tight around my shoulders. I remember thinking, it wants something. I don't know why that thought came to me, but once it did, I couldn't let it go. When I got to work that morning, I asked Mike, the old guy who stocks the beer fridge, if he'd noticed anything weird. He laughed, said I needed more sleep, less late-night TV. But every night, it got stranger. I'd find myself waking up at that same exact time, 2:13 a.m., no alarm, no sound, just the light. A light so strong it made my walls look like paper. One night, I stood at the window for over an hour, just watching it. And I swear, it felt closer each time. For nights ago, I got brave, or maybe just stupid. I decided to walk out to the back pasture, where the view was wide open. I wanted to prove to myself that it was all in my head. I didn't even put on boots, just stepped out barefoot, the dirt cold under my soles. When I looked up, the moon was right above me, directly overhead, not drifting across the sky like it should. It was huge, swollen, like an eye that had been punched and left to swell. And then, I know how this sounds, I saw something move across its surface. A shape. Long, spindly, like a shadow of a tree branch. Except there were no trees around me. And it kept flickering back and forth, like it was pacing, watching, waiting. I backed up, tripped over a rock, landed hard enough to knock the wind out of me. But when I looked up again, the shape was gone. The moon looked normal, well, as normal as it could be. But I could still feel that weight on me, like its gaze didn't disappear with the shadow. Now it's tonight. I'm sitting here writing this because I don't know what else to do. It's almost midnight. The power's been flickering. My phone battery drains twice as fast as it should. And when I close my eyes, I can still see that shape. I think it's getting closer. I think the moon is getting closer too. I don't know what it wants, but I think I'll find out at 2:13 a.m. The first thing I did when the sun came up was check the internet. It sounds stupid now, but I wanted to see if anyone else was talking about it. The moon, the shadow, the way it felt so wrong. I typed in every search term I could think of. Moon out of place, moon closer, moon watching me. Mostly, I got conspiracy forums and old threads about blood moons and lunar eclipses. Nothing that matched what I was seeing. I tried calling Mike again, the guy at work. He didn't answer this time. I left a message that probably sounded half crazy. I told him I thought the moon was sick. That's the word that kept echoing in my head, sick. Like something was rotting up there and falling toward me, piece by piece. That night, I forced myself to stay awake. I made coffee, turned on every light in the house. I even dug out my dad's old hunting rifle, not that it would do any good against the moon, but holding it made me feel less small. 2:13 a.m. came, and so did the light. I sat in my kitchen, staring at the back door. The light seeped through the cracks around the frame like a living thing. It moved not fast, but steady, pulsing. I swear I could hear something too. A hum, low and wet, like wind through a clogged drain. I don't remember getting up. One second I was clutching the mug so hard it cracked. The next, I was outside again, barefoot on the frost-hardened grass, rifle dangling at my side. The light surrounded me. I felt it on my skin, warm, almost comforting. If I closed my eyes, I could pretend it was just a summer night under a harvest moon. But I didn't close my eyes. When I looked up, the moon was huge. I mean impossibly huge. It filled my vision. No stars, no sky, just this bloated, cratered orb. And the shadow was back. This time, it wasn't drifting. It was crawling. Long, thin legs, too many of them to count. They spidered across the surface, dipping into craters, reappearing on ridges. And every time they moved, the moon seemed to pulse. Throb. I realized with a sudden, sick twist in my gut, it wasn't the moon. Or maybe it was, but it was more than that now. I wanted to run. My legs didn't work. My chest ached. My head felt like someone was pressing ice picks into my temples. Then it spoke. Not in words. Not really. But the hum grew louder, the pulsing light flickered in time with my heartbeat. And inside my skull, I heard something, a voice that wasn't a voice, telling me that I was small. That it had found me because I looked back. You looked back. My dad used to tell me that line, too, when I was a kid. He'd say, never look back at the dark. The dark remembers. I used to think he was trying to scare me into behaving. Now I wonder if he knew. I dropped the rifle. I think I screamed. The light washed over me so bright that the world turned white. I remember seeing shapes inside the light, figures like stick insects, jointed and thin, moving through folds of glowing mist. And behind them, something larger. Something that watched me the way I'd been watching the moon. When I came to, I was lying face down in the dirt by the fence line. The sun was already up. The frost was gone, melted by whatever heat had been there before. My skin felt burned, like I'd spent hours under a tanning bed. My mouth tasted like metal. I crawled back to the house, left the rifle out there rusting in the dew. Inside, the kitchen was just as I'd left it. Lights on. Coffee mug in pieces on the floor. My phone dead on the table. I plugged it in, hands shaking. No messages. No calls from Mike. No alerts, no news about the moon. I felt like I'd crossed a line that nobody else could see. Last night, or maybe it was this morning, I found something new. A mark, right at the base of my neck. It looks like a bruise at first, but when I tilt my head just right in the bathroom mirror, I can see it's not. It's shaped like an eye. A dark, purplish ring with a pinprick dot in the center. I keep covering it with my collar. I don't know why. Maybe I don't want the moon to know I've seen it. I should leave. That's what any sane person would do, pack a bag, get in the truck, drive until the sky looks normal again. But every time I reach for the keys, I feel that hum in my head, that soft pull. Like if I go too far, it'll follow. Or maybe it'll do worse. Tonight, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to set up my dad's old telescope. If it's watching me, maybe I can watch it back. Maybe I can see what's really there. Maybe I'll wish I hadn't. I set up the telescope around 9 that night. It was my dad's, an old, dented thing that smelled like the shed it had lived in for 2 decades. I wiped off the dust, tightened the screws, and dragged it out into the backfield. The grass was still flattened where I'd fallen before, a faint impression of my body like the ground had tried to hold me there. The moon was waiting. Hanging low, enormous and pale, its surface looked soft somehow, like it might drip if you touched it. Every time I looked away, I felt it shift, drifting just slightly to keep itself in my line of sight. I didn't want to look through the scope, but I had to. The first thing I saw was just rock, the familiar seas of gray and white, the craters that felt like old friends. But then I focused in on the dark spots, the ones that always looked deeper than they should. That's when I saw them. The shapes. The same spindly shadows I'd seen before, only clearer now. There were more of them, dozens, maybe hundreds. They moved in and out of the craters like ants disappearing into an anthill. Some were small, quick. Others were huge, so long they looked like cracks running across the moon's skin. And they were building something. That's the only way I can describe it. In the sea of tranquility, I saw the shadows moving stones. No, not stones. Pieces of the surface itself. They carved trenches, laid them in spirals, nested shapes within shapes until it looked like an eye. A perfect, open eye staring straight down the telescope at me. I fell back, scope clattering to the ground. For a moment, the world was spinning, moonlight blinding me, the hum screaming in my head so loud I thought my skull would split open. When I crawled back to the telescope, the shapes were gone. But the eye was still there. Imprinted in the rock, cut so deep it looked bottomless. It blinked. I swear to God, it blinked. A slow, lazy shudder of stone and shadow. I ran back to the house. Locked the doors. Closed the curtains. But it didn't help. The light bled through the cracks like it always did. Brighter now. Thicker. I thought about calling someone, the cops, an astronomer, anyone. But what would I say? The moon isn't where it's supposed to be. It's alive. It's watching me. They'd lock me up. Maybe that would be better. It's not just the light now. The hum is different too, sharper, closer. I can hear it in the walls and the pipes. When I hold my breath, I feel it vibrating in my teeth. I haven't slept in 3 days. Every time I drift off, I dream I'm standing in the field again, staring up while the shapes crawl out of the eye and slip down through the clouds like spiders on invisible threads. Last night, I saw footprints in the dirt outside my window. Long, narrow prints that didn't belong to any animal I know. They stopped right at the siding, directly below my bedroom. I checked for ladders, broken screens, nothing. Just those prints, pressed deep enough to pool with dew. The mark on my neck has spread. It's not just a bruise now, it's darker, raised around the edges. Sometimes I feel it pulse in sync with the hum. When I touch it, I swear it moves, like there's an eyelid twitching just under my skin. I keep hearing my dad's voice in my head. Never look back at the dark. But it's too late for that. I looked, and now it's looking back. Tonight, I'm not going outside. I've piled furniture against the doors. I turned off every light. I'm sitting here with the curtains pinned shut, but it doesn't matter. The light comes through anyway, softer now, like it's waiting for me to open my eyes and let it in. It's almost 2:13 a.m. again. I can feel it, the moment it chooses to come closer. My phone won't hold a charge anymore. The clocks freeze for a few seconds every night at that time. And when they start again, I feel something new under my skin. Like something has been added that wasn't there before. If you're reading this, if anyone ever finds these pages, don't look. Don't look up when the light wakes you. Don't go outside to see if the moon is where it should be. Because if you do, it'll see you too. The fourth night without sleep is when the rules of the world start to bend. I remember my dad telling me about staying up for 3 days during a storm that took out half our barn roof. He said he saw things in the lightning, shapes with no faces, shadows that crawled under his skin. I always thought it was just one of his stories. Now I know better. It's 2:13 a.m. Again. I'm not sure what day it is anymore. I've stopped marking it on the fridge calendar because the sun doesn't feel real when it rises now. It's more like a trick the moon plays, letting me pretend I'm safe when I'm not. I can hear the hum all the time now. Not just in the walls, but in the floorboards, in the pipes under the sink, in the dirt under the house. It's like the whole place is vibrating in time with my pulse. Or maybe my pulse is vibrating in time with it. The mark on my neck is worse. It's split down the middle now, the edge is raw and tender. When I press my fingers against it, I feel heat and something like a heartbeat that isn't mine. I wrapped it with a scarf, but the fabric comes away damp every morning. I think it's weeping something clear, tinged with silver under the light. Tonight, I tried to destroy the telescope. I thought maybe if I broke it, I could break whatever link I'd made. But when I carried it out to the shed and raised the hammer, I froze. My hands wouldn't move. My arms felt locked at the elbows. And in my head, I heard it. Leave it. Look. So I looked. Right through the cracked eyepiece, the glass flecked with dirt. And what I saw made me drop the hammer altogether. The moon wasn't up there in the sky anymore. Not fully. It was half shrouded in something like mist, but the mist moved like muscle. It rippled and flexed, folding over the craters like eyelids. The shadows, the shapes, they were standing along its edge now, lined up like sentries. Some of them turned their heads when I looked. They didn't have eyes, not like we do, but I could feel them seeing me. There was something else too, something bigger in the mist. I could only make out pieces of it, a curve of something like a rib, a sliver of a jaw lined with tiny flickers of white. Teeth? Spines? I couldn't tell. It moved when I breathed, like it was tasting the air through the scope. When I snapped out of it, I found myself kneeling in the shed doorway. My hands were raw, dirt ground into the skin under my nails. The hammer was gone. The telescope was untouched, standing in the grass like it always had. I think it wants me to see more. I think that's why I can't leave. I tried once, right after dawn. Packed a bag with some clothes, my dad's old hunting knife, a canteen. Got as far as the road before I saw the moon again, not in the sky, but in the reflection of my truck side mirror. It hovered behind the barn, closer than ever. The shape in the mist turned its head, and the hum hit me so hard I blacked out. When I woke up, I was back inside the house. The bag was empty. The knife was gone. It's inside now. I don't mean the moon itself. I know how insane that sounds. But whatever crawls around it, whatever hums in my bones, it's in here with me. I hear footsteps when I close my eyes, soft and deliberate, pacing from room to room. They pause by the bed, by the bathroom door when I'm too scared to get out of the shower. They're patient. They know I have nowhere else to go. Sometimes, I think I see it out of the corner of my eye, a sliver of shadow, an arm that's too thin, bending the wrong way as it slips behind a doorframe. Last night, I heard whispering under the hum, little cracks of language that don't belong to any tongue I know. One word stands out, though. I keep hearing it, over and over. Mire. At first, I thought they meant mire, as in mud, the swampy place where you sink if you stand still too long. But sometimes they say it like a name, like they're calling me by something I didn't know I was. You are mire. My skin itches where the mark is. Sometimes I catch myself scratching it so hard my fingertips come away bloody. But when I try to clean the wound, it closes over. The eye, because that's what it is now, always comes back. Always open. I know what happens tonight. I don't know how, but I feel it in the floor, in the walls, in the way the air hums like the inside of a beehive. It's not coming through the sky anymore. It's already here, under the roof with me. The only thing I can do now is keep writing. Maybe the words will hold it off. Maybe the story will keep it contained for one more night. Maybe the moon wants a witness. It's almost 2:13 a.m. again. I don't think I'm going to see the sunrise. It's 2:06 a.m. I can feel it coming before the clock even flips. The hum isn't just in the walls anymore. It's inside my chest, rattling my ribs like loose boards in a storm. The mark on my neck pulses in time, a wet heartbeat that doesn't belong to me. I'm writing this in the hallway. I don't want to be near any windows, but it doesn't matter. The light seeps through everything now. The old wallpaper glows with a pale sheen, and shadows dance in the seams where it's peeling. They move like fingers, tracing the boards under my feet. I keep telling myself I should run. But run where? I've seen what happens when I try. The moon follows, or whatever it is that wears the moon like a mask. It wants me here. Maybe it always did. 2:10 a.m. I think about my dad's stories. How he'd sit in that same hallway, shotgun across his knees, mumbling about the dark remembering you. I used to think he was drunk. Maybe he was. Maybe he was trying to drown out the hum before it got inside him too. He made it to 62. That's better than I'll do. There's a knock at the front door. I freeze. The house goes dead silent, except for the hum, but even that pulls back, like it's waiting for me to hear. One knock. 2. 3. I don't move. The doorknob rattles, just once. Then, like a sigh, the door swings inward on its own. I don't see anyone there. Just the field, silver under the impossible glow. And hanging above it, closer than it has any right to be, is the moon. No, not the moon. Not anymore. It's like a shell now, thin and cracked, leaking that living mist down onto the grass. Shapes crawl along its underside, slipping free and unfolding limbs that bend backward at the joints. One of them steps inside. It doesn't make a sound. No footsteps, no rustle. Just the hum, louder now, all around me. It's tall, so thin it looks wrong in the corners of my eyes. Its arms hang low, fingers brushing the floorboards. Where its head should be, there's just a rounded bulge, pulsing like a sack full of fireflies. It stops a few feet away, tilts its blank face toward me. The hum sharpens, drilling into my skull until I taste iron on my tongue. Then it raises one hand, long, jointed fingers ending in something too fine to see. It touches the mark on my neck, and for a second, I feel every vein in my body light up like a map. Lines of cold fire race under my skin, tracing paths I didn't know were there. Images fill my head. The moon from above, split open like an egg. Shapes pouring out into the sky. Fields covered in silver threads that burrow down into houses just like mine. People standing at their windows, faces blank, eyes turned upward. It shows me a memory that isn't mine. My father, kneeling in this same hallway, the mark already on his neck. His eyes empty, mouth moving in a prayer that ends with a sound like laughter. The thing, the shape, leans closer. I can feel its breath, if that's what it is. It smells like ozone and rotten leaves. It presses its head to mine, and I hear it, clear and final, deep in my bones. You are the witness. The door. The tether. I want to scream that I don't want this. That I never asked to look up. But the hum swells, wrapping around my thoughts like a blanket. I feel warm. Heavy. The fear drains out of me, replaced by something vast and cold. I see the eye in the moon open wide, wider than the sky should allow. A single slit of black that drinks in the world. It blinks once. And I blink with it. 2:13 a.m. The thing pulls away. Its fingers leave tracks of silver light across my skin. It drifts back through the open door, joining the others gathering under the broken moon. They stand in the fields, heads tilted back, waiting for something only they understand. I feel the pull behind my eyes now. a thread tugging at my thoughts, binding me to them. To it. I'm not tired anymore. The hum is gone, replaced by a silence so deep I can hear my own heartbeat echo off the walls. But it doesn't feel like my heartbeat now. It feels like something older, something that's been waiting to wake up through me. I walk to the door. The night is bright, the field soft and silver. They want me to come, to stand under that eye and let it see through me, to be the door my father couldn't be. I drop the notebook on the porch step. Maybe someone will find it when the sun comes up, if the sun ever comes up again. Maybe they'll read these pages and do what I couldn't. Not look. I step outside. The moon isn't where it should be. And now, neither am I.